This director out amongst the sagebrush. Let's say hello to JT Penny again. And Clancy Brown and Carl Geary. So first off, JT, why did you choose the West or the frontier to set a horse? It's a very rare place that you don't often see for films set in.
All of my visions appear to be odd directly. I think the Old West is a fairly terrifying place to start off with. I mean, I've always loved Westerns and have been fairly perplexed why they've kind of fallen out of fashion. And in trying to come up with a Western, I'm probably going to put monsters in anything I make. But just the general sort of way that people in that time actually wrote about the West, they treated it like science fiction because it was this entirely new landscape, and there's all these animals and cultures and things that they just had no concept of. It just seemed like a natural place to be writing about monsters.
And how did you come up with the idea of the Burrowers?
I tend to deal with burying things alive.
His first film, by the way, was called Soft for Digging.
Yeah, no, and I also write children's books, and they're all about burying things alive. I was trying to make friends with Carl, gave books, because he's got like an 8-year-old son, 9-year-old son.
Hasn't slept since.
I'll tell them what you want to say, Carl. But I mean, a lot of it, I mean, you see sort of the mythology there. I wanted to make sure that the cowboys never really understood what's happening to them in terms of the creatures, but a lot of how they work has a lot to do with spiders and naked mole rats and things that are actually in nature. I mean, there's the cicadas. I mean, yeah, there's all sorts of kind of terrible monsters in nature. And I wanted to make these things part of the environment. You know, they're just something that's out there. And they'll come back every 60 years. And, because I love, in the Alien films, those monsters aren't like Freddy Krueger making jokes about how they're going to torture and kill you. They're just hungry. And I think that's so much scarier.
And what attracted you guys to the script? Was this the first time you ever played a cowboy, Clancy?
Yeah.
Professionally.
And who doesn't want to play a cowboy? No, I read it. I thought it was. I thought it was going to be nonsense, to be honest with you. Monster movie. And then I started reading it. It had nothing to do with monsters. It had to do with. It reminded me of The Searchers a little bit, and I couldn't put it down. And then I met JT, and then he said, "We can't afford you." And then they came back like a year later and said it was still going on, and I was very interested. So, it was a terrific script.
I just wanted to share a stage with JT and Clancy someday. Well, JT had an idea of putting this fucking Belgian guy in it initially. It was never an Irish guy, Belgian guy. And then we realized, we didn't know how to make chocolate. So I tried to talk him out of it as best I could.
There was a point. I mean, half of what I like reading the old books about the Old West, every cowboy in every movie looks like John Wayne, Clancy, or whoever this guy is. And then you read the actual accounts, and it's all black people and immigrants. Because being a cowboy was the shittiest job you could get. If you couldn't cut it in cakes in New York, they put you on a train, and you'd be on a horse chasing cows. And so the original draft of the script, I was trying to make everybody this sort of all of the sort of rote Kevin Costner type characters are completely over their head right from the start as soon as the monsters show up, and then it's up to the immigrants, the black people, to figure out how to solve it until the military comes and wipes them out. But cowboy with a French accent is going to be hard to swallow. And I'd worked with Carl on, we made the third Mimic movie. And we just had a great relationship working, and I knew that he could sort of deliver the kind of, because coffee doesn't have a lot to say for the first, 45 minutes, the first 60, 70 minutes of the movie. And I just wanted somebody who could actually sort of still have the sort of level of charisma to kind of push that through. And knew I could get that out of Carl. So made him Irish.
Well, I love the film. I thought it was great, and I guess this is the second project with Clancy that had to do with creatures that dig under the earth. Earth 2, or the subterranean creatures. But
Also, the brain bug technically lives underground.
but actually, this is for JT. You just touched upon race, and I guess that was one of the things that, as I was watching the movie, I like the subtle and sometimes blatant messages that you had, like especially at the end.
The subtle hanging.
Yeah, so because it's just so true in terms of the history and just how people even react today in terms of wanting to discard what's right in front of them. I attended a movie here at the festival. It was by Claire Denis, and she's a French director. And the movie was about a long story. Anyway, talk a little bit more about how you decided to frame that, race into the movie.
Right. So the question was, why does Claire Denis also hate minorities? Obviously, I think you can't really talk about the history of America without talking about that kind of stuff. And it's certainly it's all sorts of, it's a fraud question. But yeah, I think it's great in these kind of movies that you have monsters, but again, I just wanted them to be part of nature. And then the decisions that people make are monstrous. So which anybody can preach about.
Yes.